Oh,
Where's my Modelo? This is weird.
Well, you probably have some in there. This is weird.
I can't even explain it. It's so weird.
I'd like you to try.
I really have no words.
But yet you keep talking.
Oh, hey there.
Oh, hey there.
Welcome to History Buffoons.
How are you, Kate?
Did we even say that we're History Buffoons in our last episode?
You know,
I swear we'll get this right someday.
we're trying our best. We're learning as we go. We
Yeah,
forget sometimes,
yeah, we
especially
are.
you.
Well,
Well,
it's not wrong.
I mean, when it's right, it's right.
So, I'm cooking burgers tonight, and I don't cook. It's
No.
not something.
It's not your forte.
It's not my forte. I don't like it. I've had eggs explode on me. I've had fires started. I've had my husband bring home a fire extinguisher just in case.
Kate's cooking tonight. I should bring home the fire extinguisher.
Yes, so what happens is I start cooking something in the kitchen and then I go do something like real quick.
You get sidetracked.
And then I get sidetracked
Yeah.
and I forget that I'm cooking.
I get that.
It happens all the time with boiling water. It's just overflowing. Good thing I hear it.
Didn't you tell me you left the house once?
Yes, that was the eggs exploding.
That was the eggs exploding. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it was.
It was Easter. I was by myself. It was with my ex-husband, but I was by myself. And I was like, I'm going to dye some Easter eggs because as an adult, when have I ever? None. I don't know what was on my brain that day, but
no, kids do that.
Exactly. Well, I am kind of a child sometimes. Anyway.
Sometimes.
So I'm boiling like 6 eggs and I get a call from an acquaintance and she's like, hey, I'm going to be at the bar. And it was Lock, Stock, and Barrel in Decatur, Illinois.
That's the name of the bar?
Lock, Stock, and Barrel. Mm-hmm. And it was on campus. There's Milliken campus. It's a private school. But that's where all the college kids hung out. And I was a little bit older than that. But I'm like, she was young. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Let's go. I go, and we're having a good time, just chatting, just the two of us. And I get a call from my ex-husband. And he goes, so, like he's asking me these questions. He's not telling me what's happening. He's asking me. So, what were you cooking? I'm like, oh, shit.
Way to go.
I was like, eggs? He goes, yeah. You didn't remove them from the stove.
Right.
And they exploded. They are all over the ceiling, all over the grates, all over the exhaust fan. You need to come home and pick this up. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
And here you've been sitting having some beverages. And
I was having a beverage.
Yeah.
And I came home expecting like the worst smell. I was expecting like a burnt saucepan, but there was nothing. It didn't smell like eggs.
That's strange.
The pan was fine. Yes, there were eggs exploded, but it was easy to clean up. It was really bizarre.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
So, for science, don't leave the house.
For science.
Don't leave the house while cooking.
Well, no, you can leave the house. Just don't start cooking and then leave the house.
Well, so I'm cooking tonight.
Good luck.
I'm making burgers and also Cheetos. I just bought the Cheetos, so I don't have to like fry any hot oil or anything.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Do you like to cook?
My roles of work have changed over the last year, and I'd say over the last 6 months, I guess, I've really taken I don't know if I'd say a liking to it. I enjoy it. I enjoy trying things because unfortunately I'm a super picky eater and I don't eat a lot of vegetables. I know it's bad for me, but it's usually a context kind of, texture thing for me that I just don't enjoy them. So, which my wife likes because I have taken over that, and I'm usually home before them, so I usually have dinner ready for when they get home. So I've been trying stuff, and of course I kind of cater it to my liking
Naturally.
because I'm the one doing it. So
And you're the pickiest eater
well,
out of you and her.
yeah, because I say my son's pretty picky too. My daughter is getting a little more picky. She doesn't eat as vast stuff as she used to.
She was a vacuum for a while.
I know. She would literally just eat anything. It was crazy. But my son is pretty picky. We found a few things that he's been enjoying lately, so I've been trying that. But yes, I am a very picky eater. My wife would eat a lot more than what I make if I did. But I'm not going to sit there and make a salad because I'm not going to eat a salad. So
yeah. I love a salad.
although I do like a fresh spinach salad with like dressing on it, depending on the dressing too, I will eat that. My wife makes really good salmon and basically salmon on a salad kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's really delicious.
That sounds good.
We haven't had that in probably years though, which is too bad because it's quite delicious. But no, I enjoy cooking. I'm not. My oldest brother is really good at, so he got whatever my mom had in terms of that, because my mom's a pretty good cook too. But my brother even amps it up in terms of what he makes and stuff. But he's really good actually at cooking, so he does that a lot. I know it's kind of a bummer because he's currently not living in the state, so we don't benefit from some of his delicious meals at my parents when we get together and stuff. So
yeah,
but that's all right. Yeah, he's really good. But I enjoy it. I don't know. I don't know what to ever make. I'm always trying to look for ideas. I like the crock pot.
yeah.
Crock pot's great.
My parents were both like really good cooks. My dad, I always remember my dad making us breakfast as we were getting ready for school. And my mom was always really good as well. And I wish I got those genes, but
It's not for everybody. A lot of it's timing.
yeah,
And
inappropriate timing,
and
like walking away.
and yeah, timing does not include going to a bar in the middle of it. But
Okay, so are you ready to open up our beers?
So I don't actually. Well, I guess it's in partnership with a brewery. I have. All right, I'll go. I guess I'll go first. Sorry, I should have asked.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm still trying to pronounce mine.
So that's right. So mine is from Central Standard Craft Distillery in partnership with Leinenkugel's, who makes Summer Shandy, which is a beer that I rather enjoy. I think we've talked about it. But they came out with these craft cocktails. They're ready to drink cocktails in a can, so this should be interesting. They have a brandy old fashioned and a bourbon old fashioned. Brandy is a little sweet on my taste, so I am a big bourbon guy. I went with the bourbon old fashioned. So these just came out not that long ago, if I'm not mistaken. I remember hearing their local radio station had John Leinenkugel on it, and he was promoting it, which is obviously one of the Leinenkugels. And so I think this came out quite recently, and I'm cat fell in a box.
Big box.
A big box. I'm interested to try it. So, bourbon old fashioned for me.
I have Pickaxe from Kiwina.
I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure.
Kiwina Brewing Company.
Brewing Company.
That's the one.
Not brewing.
Brewing Company. No one said I could speak well. Okay.
Yeah, I've said that you can't.
But blonde. So this Pickaxe is a blonde ale, and I believe it is brewed and canned in South Range, Michigan.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So it's got a German barmaid on it.
Do you know what people from Michigan are called?
Michiganians?
Michiganders?
Michiganders?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. My mom's technically from Michigan.
Is she?
She's from the up.
Okay, so did you taste yours? I'm going to taste mine while you talk about yours.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, you haven't tasted it yet.
So, anyone
Oh,
not good?
that is so bizarre.
I like the response. Ugh. Oh,
Where's
man.
my Modelo? This is weird.
Well, you probably have some in there. This is weird.
I can't even explain it. It's so
I'd like you to try.
I really have no words.
But yet you keep talking.
It tastes a little weedy.
Yeah.
Is that what a blonde ale is?
I mean,
because they would say it was like a wheat ale, and I don't mind wheat ales, but I don't know. It's so bizarre. I mean, I'm going to drink it because I like beer, but
because I like beer. As far as an old fashioned go, I mean, it's a canned one. I mean, it's. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I would rather go to a. So for anyone who might not be from Wisconsin listening to this, Al's from Wisconsin, so thank you, Al. Old fashions are a big cocktail in Wisconsin. Typically brandy. Obviously, they've ventured out with bourbon ones as well. But it's pretty much a staple on Friday night fish fries in Wisconsin. And I would rather go to a bar and have one made for me.
yeah, I don't care for brandy or bourbon old fashions.
Right. This, as far as like me making them at home, is probably a no-go. So this would be sufficient enough.
Okay,
But no, it's got good flavor to it.
awesome.
It's 8%, so
Holy crap!
a couple of these would probably
Does
knock
mine
me
have
out.
an ABV? Is that what it is? ABV?
Yeah.
Did I say it right? Am I learning things?
You're learning things.
I don't think mine says.
It probably does. You just might not know.
Oh,
what it is.
there's like a barcode
yeah, the
from
sticker.
my local grocery store where I bought it, so I can't read it.
That's fine.
Although I do know that it is 12 fluid ounces.
Well, no kidding.
And
'Cause
keep refrigerated as well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anywho,
that's my Kiwina.
Kiwina.
Yeah.
And that's my bourbon old fashioned ready to drink cocktail.
Okay.
Central Standard in partnership with Lenny Kugels. Alcohol 8% by volume, 16 proof.
So, are you ready to get depressed?
Oh, more than I already am? Let's go.
Oh, poor Bradley.
Poor Bradley. Or as my daughter would say, I sorry.
I'm sorry.
I sorry.
Oh, for reference sake, the screaming that you hear at the end of our episodes is his 2-year-old Vesper.
Yeah, but that man,
She was like what, a year and a half?
not even. I think she was a little over a year when she did that video. I'd have to double check. She was over a year. I don't know if it was quite a year and a half, but the stop it was her yelling at the dog.
Yeah, stop it, stop it.
We thought that was pretty funny, so we just threw that in there as a
Yeah.
kind of a joke type thing.
But she hears her dad, Bradley, say "stop it" all the time to his dog.
Well, because he won't stop it. He just sits there and looks at me and like whines. It's like, what?
Stop it. So Vesper was filling in for Dad that night.
Yeah, she was pretty great. She was pretty great. She did not disappoint.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about
Is depressing?
is depressing.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about Georgia Tann.
Georgia Tann.
Yes, and I'm getting most of my references here from the book well, I'm kind of spoiler alert. It's called The Baby Thief.
Oh, so I'm guessing Georgia stole some babies?
Yeah. So it's called The Baby Thief, The Untold Story of Georgia Tann, the Baby Seller Who Corrupted Adoption by Barbara Byzance Raymond.
Byzance. Raymond.
So, spoiler alert.
Yeah, that really just kind of gave it away. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thanks for joining us, folks.
She was the one.
We caught her.
Okay, so Georgia Tann was born July 18th, 1891 in Philadelphia, Mississippi.
Oh.
I did
See
that on
what you did
purpose.
there. Born and raised, so she wasn't
Phil-
like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Philadelphia, Mississippi. Her parents were Beulah and George. And George was actually a fairly prominent judge
Oh, Judge George.
in their county.
I like that, Judge George.
So her mother was a school teacher, was actually fairly uncommon for women at the time. And her father was reportedly fairly domineering, and Georgia kind of was a tomboy. She dressed in pants and...
Wait. Her name was Georgia and his was George?
Correct.
Oh.
So she dressed very much like a tomboy, and Judge George didn't care for that.
Judge George.
So he wanted Georgia to become a concert pianist.
Oh, who didn't?
So she began to play the piano at age 5 and continues throughout her life.
Okay.
But part of her father's job often brought abandoned or neglected children home, and he was supposed
As
to
a judge?
Yeah, so there were no orphanages at the time.
I mean, I bet
So,
there were. Just
part
not
of-
in their area.
Part of his job was to place them in homes.
So he would just bring them home.
He
till
would
could
bring
do
them
that?
home and then find them homes.
That seems really
so
odd.
there were kids everywhere all the time.
For even so, okay, she was born in 1891.
So this would be about 1905, 06 ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just trying to get my time frame here.
So Georgia attended Martha Washington College, graduating with a music degree in 1913.
Wow.
And she went on to take social work courses at Columbia University.
So wait, she was born in 1891. She didn't graduate till 1913.
Mm-hmm.
That's from high school?
No, college.
from college.
College.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. She went on to take social work courses at another college, Columbia University. But she actually hated playing the piano.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Is it because her dad forced her to do it?
Well, she actually had aspirations to really make a name for herself. She wanted to become a lawyer like her father.
Oh, so why was he against that? Because women don't do that?
Women don't do that.
Damn right.
So she really valued status and power. But there were no law schools at that time. She actually studied under her father. So he literally taught her the law. She took the state bar exam in Mississippi and passed. And then he said, due to gender norms, I do not want you to practice. I refuse and forbid it that you practice law.
I would have been comfortable with forbade, but either way.
Thanks, Dad. So she entered social work as it's one of the very few available options for unmarried women. So she became the receiving director at the Kate McWillie Powers Receiving Home for Children.
So an orphanage?
It was part of the Mississippi Children's Home Society.
Okay.
So here she met an associate named Ann Atwood.
Okay.
Her mother knew George's mother.
George's.
So Anne recently gave birth to a son out of wedlock and ended up adopting the surname Hollingsworth.
Scandalous.
So she would look like a widow.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
But eventually, and there was no proven records of this, but eventually Georgia and Anne became a couple.
Oh, so back when, especially when
Mm-hmm.
lesbian / homosexual relationships were really taboo.
Yeah.
They did it on the QT. So,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, surprisingly, Georgia actually adopted a daughter named June when she was an infant in 1922. And apparently she was just a cold fish. She was just...
June was?
No, Georgia.
Georgia.
Was,
So she wasn't very affectionate towards
she was
the kid.
not affectionate to any children.
Gotcha. Just Anne.
Yeah. And I didn't find very much information on this, but Tann was fired from her position in 1924. So she ended up moving to Memphis, Tennessee with Anne and her son Jack, and then George's daughter June.
And Jack is the out of wedlock kid.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So she was hired as executive secretary of the Shelby County branch of the Tennessee Children's Home Society in Memphis.
That's a lot.
I can't imagine a woman who's a cold fish working with children.
Well, I mean, crazier things have happened.
So this branch was the largest children's home or society in Tennessee, with branches in Jackson, Knoxville, and Chattanooga.
Okay.
And she aggressively took over the organization. She was a pretty brash woman.
She wanted that power. And that
She
status,
wanted that
so-
power.
So she was like, I run this shit.
Yes.
I'm the captain now.
So Georgia was known to be a very assertive and had a ruthless approach. And she used
Okay.
intimidation and manipulation to gain control over the organization.
Of course she did.
And then she began cultivating relationships with influential figures, such as the Memphis mayor, E.H. Crump.
Oh, Crump.
Yeah.
We go way back.
So this political backing provided her with protection and leverage for her children trafficking in 1924.
I mean, I know it's not like groundbreaking for it to be in 1924, but you wouldn't really think that, I guess. But also, information was not as accessible. You really don't like that beer,
I just
do you?
took another swig. It's really not good. It's really strange.
Sorry, Keller Weina.
Kiwina.
Keller.
Yeah, I'm not digging that pickaxe. Okay.
Sorry.
So,
I mean, they're not going to all be home runs.
oh, I need a Modelo.
Well, then. Yeah.
It's fine. Okay, so Tennessee law prohibited selling children,
You don't say.
as you do,
Did you know you used to be able to mail children?
like a mail order bride.
No, you could mail your child to another person through the post office.
You can do that with a potato. And
Yeah,
a
because that's
shoe,
the same fucking thing.
And a shoe.
I mean, yeah, I get shoes in the mail all the time because I have big feet and I have to order them.
So Tennessee law prohibited selling children, but they were allowed agencies to charge for adoption services. Okay,
Sure.
so in-state adoptions were around $7,
Oh, that's expensive.
while out-of-state adoptions, like New York, California,
I know what out of state means, but yeah,
commanded a premium price.
sure. So bringing in a kid from one of those other states, you had to pay extra for that? Is that what you're saying?
Selling them to other states,
But you're not selling them, you're adopting them.
quote unquote. So
Major air quotes are going on, folks.
Between 1940 and 1950, the agency placed 3,000 children in Mississippi and Arkansas alone, where each adoption could fetch up to $750.
Wow. And back in 30s, you said? Or 40s, 50s?
Mm-hmm, 40s, 50s.
That's still a lot of money in those decades.
So her Georgia's target was wealthy, prospective adoptive couples.
Of course.
Each adoptive couples paid approximately $750 directly to Georgia,
See, that should be a red flag right there.
who's a part of an organization. They're like, make it out to Georgia.
Yeah, you're part of the. Why aren't you making it out to the organization?
Exactly. So she also charged for fake background checks, inflated travel costs, and overpriced adoption paperwork.
Oh, she went a whole 9 yards.
Georgia's profits were hidden in a secret bank account under a false corporation name, and she has alleged to have pocketed about 80 to 90% of adoption fees.
Jeez.
And she, of course, failed to report the income to the Society's Board or the IRS.
Well, yeah, because, why pay taxes on it when you can just hide it?
Between 1944 and 1950, 1,200 children were adopted through the agency.
That's a lot of kids.
It's a lot of kids.
And that's 6 years? You said 44 to 50, right? Damn.
Georgia.
Do you know how many kids a year that is?
No, do the math.
200.
So, Georgia used pressure tactics, threats.
Okay. Pressure tactics and threats
And deception
and deception.
to obtain children from primarily poor single mothers.
So they didn't. The mothers didn't necessarily want to give them up, is what you're saying?
No.
She would pressure them into doing that.
Yes.
Wow.
So she acquired children born to inmates as well in Tennessee mental institutions and state wards through her connections.
That sounds great.
And to meet high demand for children, she even resorted to kidnapping.
So she just would straight up just like,
Yep.
they got a kid.
They would just pluck them right from the lawn.
That's fucked up.
Single parents were told welfare agents had taken their children or that orphanages had placed them for adoption without consent.
And they were just like, okay.
No, they were irate and angry and tried to fight it.
As they should be. You just stole my kid. If someone came and did that to my daughter, I'd be like, fuck you.
So Georgia often took children directly from mothers in hospitals before their release and sometimes even before birth.
How can you take them before birth?
Mothers would sign away their babies.
Oh, jeez.
So Georgia used a combination of coercion and manipulation to convince expectant mothers to sign away their parental rights. This often involved promises of financial assistance and threats of social stigma.
Well, sure.
So she claimed newborn babies required medical care to take them from unwed mothers, then later falsely reporting the infants' deaths or even claiming they were stillborn.
What was the benefit of doing that?
So that the parents wouldn't, one,
look for them,
the
basically?
kids,
Okay.
or find retribution.
Sure. Okay. Wow.
So she also would destroy...
She was diabolical.
Yeah,
Jesus
she was
Christ.
vile. She also destroyed records like birth certificates and fabricated child histories for adopted parents.
So would she create new birth certificates then for these kids?
Yes.
Wow.
It was all falsified.
Right.
Georgia...
I understand the time frame. So, like, you couldn't... I'm sure you could. A lot harder to do that today. But it's like... Wouldn't you, like... Red flags go up?
There's no checks and balances.
I know. It's just wild. All right. Sorry. Continue.
Georgia would even threaten adoptive parents with legal action to reclaim children when inaccuracies in child information were discovered. So even adoptive parents are like, this is not the kid you promised me. Take it back. And she'd be like, no, I'll sue you.
So I thought I ordered vanilla and I got chocolate. I mean... Anywho.
So there was a mayor Crump.
There was a mayor?
I already introduced him. Mayor Crump's political machine dominated Memphis politics.
Okay.
So he controlled appointments, contacts, and the city's finances with his intimidation, threats, and power.
See, wow, he was one of those kind of guys.
Yes.
Huh? And this is the one she buddied up with.
Yes.
Right, okay.
So his administration was notorious for corruption with allegations of bribery, vote buying, and other unethical
Wait a
practices.
minute. You're telling me someone in government was corrupted?
Yes.
That can't be possible. Government officials are the fucking most straight and narrow people in the world.
This is really shocking. I'm so
I know.
sorry to tell you.
Look at our government now. No fucking
Beautiful.
shenanigans going on.
It's beautiful. So so Crump also operated a protection racket where businesses were forced to pay for protection from harassment and competition.
I love that it's a protection racket.
Uh-huh.
Whenever racket is involved in something like that, you know, hands down, it's fucked up.
Just with the words racket.
Exactly. Oh, that's so great.
A racket ruffa.
A racket kerfuffle.
So Georgia and Mayor Crump formed a mutual beneficial partnership naturally. She provided a steady stream of income through her illegal adoption practices, while Crump offered political protection and immunity.
Wow. Words are tough on Kate sometimes, so we appreciate you looking past that.
Or listening past that. So,
or fast forwarding past that.
Okay, so we got the mayor in her pocket, right?
Mayor in her pocket.
Now we got a judge.
Yeah.
Judge Camille Kelly also aided.
Is that a guy?
It's a woman.
Okay.
Also aided Georgia's tactics by using her authority to sanction her actions.
Of course she did.
So Georgia identified children from supposedly unfit homes, and Kelly expedited the process through her court.
So what? I mean, I hope I'm not jumping the gun, but maybe I am. What was the benefit for her to do that?
Extra power. She's getting financial gain from
Georgia.
From working with Georgia.
So Georgia's paying her off, basically?
Yes.
Is what it is? Okay.
Yes.
Because it's like, why else would you do that?
Yeah.
And, wow, okay.
So Judge Kelly would even terminate custody rights for divorced mothers, allowing Georgia to place children in better homes.
Wow. How do you think you have the power to do that? I mean, it's just like, yeah, you know what? We think you're unfit. We're just going to take those kids.
Yeah.
Do you have an age range on the kids? Like,
it ranged. I think the oldest that I've read about is 9.
So decently old.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone comes at my kids, I'm going to fucking beat the shit out of them.
I will stand right beside you.
Because, yeah, my kids are sweet as fuck.
I love your kids.
My kids are great.
No, I love them and I miss them.
I know.
Okay, so children awaiting placement obviously weren't cared for.
You don't say.
You gotta stop saying.
I do it on purpose now because you pointed it out. And I knew it would get a reaction like that, so that's pretty fantastic.
So the children were abused, neglected, and many of the infants starved to death.
Oh, really? Like,
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of them died.
A lot.
But yet they still somehow adopted out, huge air quotes, 12,000 kids.
Yes.
Wow. And how many would they have adopted out if they didn't die?
Over 500 more.
Is that's the rough number of how many died?
Yes.
Good Lord.
So right before this happened,
That's
like
sad.
maybe like 15 years, 12, 15 years,
Okay.
the plague happened. So a lot of deaths occur. A lot of mothers died.
Weird.
And their children
Were left
unattended.
unattended.
Unattended. So
Where were the
lots of
fathers?
opportunity.
Yeah.
Fighting wars and dying.
That seems important.
So,
That's crazy.
shocker, Memphis had the nation's highest infant mortality rate, largely attributed to you-know-who.
As I say, thanks, Georgia.
Yeah. So, she had an all-female staff,
Of course.
and they're now operating out of a mansion which was donated by wealthy adoptive parents.
She really knew how to fucking...
She was.
Oh, wow.
So the all-female staff wore nursing uniforms despite lacking proper training. Children
Was
were...
that for show?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I figured, but I just wanted to say.
And children were frequently sedated.
Oh, so they would just dope them up?
Yep.
What the fuck?
And those deemed difficult to place were allowed to starve.
You know what? I'm going to let you starve today.
Yeah.
I'm going to let that happen. You wanted
So-
it, I got it.
Georgia would disregard doctors' orders, denying sick children essential care, leading to preventable deaths from treatable diseases. So some of the deceased children were buried in the cemetery in Memphis, with the final count of victims approximately around 500.
So that's where that number came from. Okay.
Yes.
So that's in the whole time frame of her doing this.
Yes.
Okay. That is I mean,
It's a lot.
Is she considered a fucking serial killer then? Because holy shit.
That's a good point. I
mean, 500.
I would say so.
Even if 50% of those were directly attributed to her, that's a lot of fucking deaths to one person.
Okay, let's call her a serial killer.
Yeah, fuck you, Georgia.
Jesus.
Posthumous serial killer.
So, newly appointed Governor Gordon Browning finally initiated an investigation into the Tennessee Children's Home Society in September 1950.
He wasn't on the take
He
there.
was not. So, the scandal was publicized nationwide, including in major newspapers like the Memphis Commercial Appeal and the New York Times.
Okay.
It was alleged that Georgia and her associates profited by up to $1 million
Which in 1940 to 50
yeah.
was a lot of money.
from illegal adoptions.
Wow.
So get this. The state of Tennessee sued Georgia for $500,000,
That's it?
but it was 3 days after her death.
They sued her 3 days after her death.
So she died in their process of suing her.
Wow, really?
Yes. She died of uterine cancer in 1950. Yes.
And so she would have been 59 at that time. 58, 59.
She never faced any criminal charges.
That is fucking horrible.
Isn't that insane?
That is insane because fuck her. Look at all those poor kids that died because of her.
Oh, and get this. Georgia adopted her lover, Anne,
So
I think she was about 8 years younger.
So technically Anne was her daughter?
No. So
Wait.
Anne was a couple.
Correct.
But she adopted Anne as a quote-unquote daughter just for the inheritance.
What inheritance?
Whatever Georgia left behind.
Oh.
Anne became her beneficiary.
Very diabolical.
Apparently that happened back then. Homosexuals would adopt
Do
each
that.
other to be the beneficiary.
Because they couldn't get married, so
No.
they wouldn't get the benefits.
Yes.
Because otherwise they'd go to the state or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
Yeah. So Judge Kelly and Mayor Crump also managed to avoid facing criminal charges for their corrupt activities.
Wow.
Despite widespread knowledge of their practices, they both maintained a powerful political machine that shielded them from prosecution. And their political connections and influence were instrumental in their ability to evade justice.
Yeah, politics isn't corrupt at all.
Yeah.
Today or back then. Straight and narrow, folks.
So the lack of concrete evidence and the political climate of the time prevented them from being accountable.
Wow. So they just got away scot-free.
Yeah.
Made a bunch of fucking money off all these poor kids, which a good chunk of them, I mean, 500 out of 12,500 if you include them, whatever.
Yeah.
The percent's low, but still, 500 kids dying is bullshit.
Yeah.
Especially being a person with kids. Fuck y'all.
So in 1950, the Tennessee Children's Home Society was shut down due to the scandal, naturally.
You don't say.
I'm going to read you a couple,
You didn't even
personal.
respond to that
Yeah,
one.
I'm just buzzing right through.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm going to read you a couple, personal.
Do you have the hiccups? Is it because you're drinking the beer you don't like?
I'm burping.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
All right. I couldn't tell if it was the hiccups or something else.
I've done it 3 times.
Oh, my God. I know. I've noticed, and I finally just said something. You're going to read me what now? Jesus Christ.
Oh, so I wasn't sneaky. Got it.
Nope, not at all.
So I'm going to read 3 stories of people's associations with Georgia. So
Georgia.
Peggy, who was 9,
Hey, Peggy.
was taken from her mother.
Oh, jeez.
Once rehome, she became a stutterer,
A stutterer?
a bedwetter,
Oh, dear.
and a perpetual screamer. On purpose, she would make everybody's life miserable.
Because she was
was-
stolen from her.
And she was 9.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty. I mean, okay, my son is almost 6.
Yeah.
I mean, he is pretty well developed and so on and whatever. That's 3 years ahead of where he's even at right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's very well ingrained in whatever life she had before that, and all of a sudden just plucked from that.
Yep.
Can you blame her?
So she was given back to Georgia and then shuffled around 8 different foster homes
Oh,
until
Jesus.
she was finally returned to her mother. But her siblings, who were also taken, were still in California and New York. So she was
That's-
reunited with her mother, but her siblings were not.
That's sad. How many siblings did she have? Did it say, or you don't know?
I think it said about 5, like she was one of 5.
Oh wow, so quite a few.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have Elizabeth Hubert, who was 5 when she arrived in California. So she was sick with pneumonia and traumatized by her mother's untimely death. And with no word on what Elizabeth was about to experience, Georgia put her on a plane to LA, and she was picked up by her new parents in the lobby of the Biltmore Hotel. She had no idea what's going on at 5.
Yeah, of course.
At age 5.
Especially at 5. Yep.
They changed her name immediately to Carol and gave her a doll.
What?
Elizabeth says it was the nicest toy she'd ever owned, but she had no idea who Carol was.
Yeah. Who's Carol? Well, that's you.
Well, because she was so confused, she named her doll Elizabeth.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So she gave her doll her own name?
Yes.
Did she start accepting being called Carol?
Not really.
Okay.
She had gone from a shack when she was the second youngest of 14
Oh my God, 14.
and sleeping on the floor to eating breakfast in this big affluent house. So she began talking to herself in the mirror because no one else would listen to her.
Well, why would they? She's
So
5.
she listened to herself through the
Sure.
mirror. And she began putting on fake personalities in different situations. So
Did she end up having a, was it?
no, it wasn't like that. But
Okay.
she would fake being happy at a party or being
In the mirror, you're saying?
No,
In real life,
In
too?
real life,
Oh, okay,
yeah. She
okay.
would put on these different facades
Sure.
just to get her through.
Yeah. But, I mean, people deal with trauma in a lot of different ways, and that's a pretty common thing from what I can ascertain. So
eventually she saw a therapist, and he suggested that she take her name back.
Elizabeth.
Yes.
So
But
what'd
she-
she call the doll then? Sorry. Anyways.
But she didn't want to upset her adoptive parents.
Well,
so she literally resisted his suggestion for 20 years.
20 years?
Yes. Finally, in 1982, she took back Elizabeth, and she finally felt some peace. She was also reunited with other relatives and siblings at the Nashville airport, each one holding an orchid for her.
I'm really glad I said orchid, not a doll. That would have been weird.
Last one here.
What was the significance of the orchid?
It's just like a flower homecoming, like...
Okay.
Yeah. It was just a sweet image.
Sure.
You know. The last one I'll talk about is Alma Sipple.
Alma Sipple.
In the spring of 1946, Alma Sipple gave birth to her daughter, Irma. So she was a single mother. She turned to the Tennessee Children's Home Society for help. Trusting in the organization's supposed benevolence, she allowed Georgia to take custody of her infant daughter, believing that the child would receive the best possible care.
Wow, was she fooled?
Georgia assured Alma that she would provide medical care for Irma, who was allegedly ill.
Oh, Jesus.
Days later, Georgia informed Alma that the baby had passed away from pneumonia and had been buried. Devastated by grief,
Christ.
Alma was left to mourn the loss of her child. However, a deep-seated doubt lingered with her, a persistent belief that her daughter was still alive. Years passed, and Alma's hope of finding her child dwindled. Then in 1989, a turning point arrived. Watching an episode of Unsolved Mysteries,
Seriously?
she saw a segment about Georgia Tann and recognized the woman who had taken her child.
That's fucked up. She was on Unsolved Mysteries?
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
That's crazy. I might have even seen that back in the day because I grew up on that show and I had no idea. I totally forgot about it.
So Alma contacted the Right to Know organization in Memphis, dedicated to reuniting families separated by adoption. Alma was finally reunited with her daughter, who had been renamed Sandra.
Wow.
The reunion was, of course, bittersweet,
Sure.
filled with both joy and sorrow. While finding her daughter alive was a miracle, the pain of the separation and the years lost would forever cast a shadow over their lives.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't get that back.
No. So Georgia is estimated to have stolen over, can you guess how many?
12,500?
Not quite that.
Oh, that's the total.
Total.
Stolen?
Not quite that many, yeah.
4,000.
5,000.
Oh, I was going to guess that first. I should have went like that.
5,000 children.
She stole 5,000 children.
Yes.
Pretty much got 7,000 to 7,500 more given to her.
Yes.
I mean, that's a lot of fucking kids stolen.
Yeah.
And so I don't even know if this is like a stat you came across or anything like that. We know that 500-ish died in her care or lack thereof care. I would imagine others died shortly after you might not even know of, too, because of the conditions they were kept in and so on.
Oh, for sure. Many of the adoptive parents used them as child labor.
Right.
There was not like a loving environment.
No, because some of them is like free labor.
Free labor, sexual abuse, but then there were others that were super, super loving.
You're obviously going to get some of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I imagine the conditions weren't always that way for them. So
yeah,
500 that again,
and that was just infants.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not including the up to 9-year-olds. Which is just crazy. It's like I don't blame that chick for screaming and whatever else she did because I'm old enough to know what the hell's going on enough.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no,
this isn't right.
This ain't right. That's a lot of fucking kids to steal. Jesus Christ.
So despite promises from New York and California to investigate, no children were ever returned to their birth families.
That's fucked up.
Georgia died, obviously, before facing criminal charges. 19 children who died in Georgia's care were buried in a mass grave at Elmwood Cemetery without any headstones.
Jeez.
There is a plaque there now.
Well, that's nice. Do they even know who they are, though? That's the thing.
I don't think so.
My guess is no, because it's a mass grave. So
The Tennessee Children's Home Society scandal led to adoption reform laws in Tennessee in 1951.
Good.
Georgia's operation significantly increased adoption rates in the United States, and it became more of like a wealthy people are adopting the poor
Yep.
kind of thing.
Yep.
But just to end, the current Tennessee Children's Home has no connection with Georgia Tann or her organization.
Oh, thank God. Well, I mean, that's to be expected, but it's good to put that out there.
Yeah,
Will that out into existence.
exactly. So that's Georgia Tann.
That's crazy because, like, again, I know you don't have kids. You and your husband, that wasn't on your list of things to do.
Correct.
I do. I have two. You love my kids, though.
I do. I love being their honorable aunt.
Yeah, and obviously, I love my kids. They're the two best things that has ever happened to me. But like my son, just like I just love watching him grow. And my daughter is only 2, so it's like I have some time to see that progression still with where my son's at. But he's 4 years older, so I couldn't imagine like someone coming in and be like, "Yeah, we're gonna take those from you."
Yeah.
Like, yep, no, you're not.
Yep.
I will straight up murder a bitch if you try and do that.
So devastating.
Yeah, and the way she manipulated those people to do that, it's just like, how did they buy into her?
And that she was super manipulative.
But still,
and she had judges in her corner and mayors in her corner.
Yeah, it's wild that she got so much backing.
Oh, get this. Oh my gosh, who's the woman? Oh my gosh, it's not Joan Collins.
Like the
Joan.
reporter?
Joan.
Jet?
I'm going to look it up real quick. There's a famous actress, Joan Crawford.
Oh, sure.
She adopted 2 children from Georgia.
Did she really?
She did.
No way.
Yes. And her daughter, June had a daughter also that was adopted from Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she knew no ends that go where she went. She went
Yeah.
everywhere. So.
Yeah. But can you imagine,
No.
like, knowing... So you're in the hospital, you just gave birth, you were told that you just had a stillbirth, and then you come across potentially the unsolved mysteries and be like, I knew that woman. She was in my...
She told me.
She told me.
Yeah.
And then what if your kid is still alive?
Well, just think how many people
devastating.
had that doubt after, like, they went through that and then see unsolved mysteries or whatever news story, blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, well, wait a minute. Maybe my kid is actually out there and they didn't die of stillbirth or pneumonia or whatever other bullshit she came up with. I mean,
There's another child adult now who I read about named Billy Hale.
Okay.
And he had no identity. He reinvented himself a ton because he just didn't know who he was.
Sure.
And his adoptive parents were wonderful. They were affluent. He lived in a really great house on a lake. He went boating and fishing and swimming and just all the like precious things that children would enjoy from a loving family.
Yeah.
Well, he saw a 60 Minutes show
About her?
about Georgia.
Okay.
And he finally tracked down his birth mother.
How did he find her?
It didn't say like how he found out what her name was.
Okay.
But he put in like in the local newspaper of where
Like an ad out kind of thing?
like if you know anyone
hey.
about Molly May something, contact this number.
Yeah.
And actually it was his father that contacted him. He read the newspaper.
Really?
Yeah, and said your mother died 6 years ago.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. No, sorry, brother. It was a brother. My bad.
Okay.
Mother's brother. So his uncle.
Mother's brother, his uncle.
His uncle contacted him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah. So he's got a relationship with his uncle and his cousins, but
Which is great, but never got to meet his mother.
Yeah, but I guess
6 years
he
too
was
late.
really like mentally screwed up with his identity and over the whole thing.
Can you blame him?
Yeah.
I mean,
apparently when he saw the 60 Minutes, he replayed it over and over and over and over again. He was like really obsessive about.
was it just to like kind of try and confirm, or?
Yeah, like he recognized he had memories when he was younger, and his adoptive parents always just said like, no, that's wrong. That never happened.
See, that's.
But like his memories were so strong, he somehow connected it to the 60 Minutes episode, and he
That's
just
crazy.
would rewatch it, and ultimately it, came true.
That's, I mean, good for him. That's awesome, because even though it was a little bit too late
Yeah.
for the mother part of it, but
Yeah.
it's nice to have that closure
But
in
then
your brain.
his uncle said that she never stopped looking for you. She knew that you were alive.
I bet. That's sad.
Yeah.
All right.
What have you got for us?
Thanks for bringing down the house like you normally do.
Oh, this beer.
Stop fucking drinking it.
I really need you to try it.
No, I'm not going to drink it after that ringing endorsement. Fuck that. All right. So we're going to do an idiom here.
You're a what? You said I'm an.
You don't say.
You said I'm an idiot here. What?
Yeah.
Not me. You.
No.
Okay, continue. Just move along.
It's kind of hard when you fucking
Move along, John.
bring down the show like that.
I did warn you. It was a depressing story.
You weren't wrong.
I know.
You did not disappoint with that story.
I'm never wrong.
Well,
Please continue with your goddamn idiom.
oh, you know what I'm doing now. Okay. Have you
Stop
ever
beating around the bush. That's his idiom of choice. Okay, please share us what beating around the bush means.
If anyone would like to apply to be a podcast partner, I am taking applications.
You have to do all the research, by the way.
That's just the gig.
It's the gig.
Holy fuck. This is stupid now. Have you ever heard the term beating around the bush?
You got me horse laughing.
This is on Kate, everybody.
Yes, Bradley, I have heard of.
Is it because you just said it, or is it because I'm asking the question and you've heard it in the past before 5 minutes ago? Jesus fuck. Do you know where it comes from?
I don't.
Are you sure?
Girl Scouts honor.
You were never in the Girl Scouts.
That's right. I was in brownies. I left before Girl Scouts.
I ate a brownie once. That's from a movie. Anyways, so it is believed to have originated around my favorite time period, which is?
The 1700s.
No.
I'll take
Brad's favorite time frame for
300, Alex.
That's weird that we both said 300. Medieval times.
Okay.
Medieval times. That's my favorite time frame.
So half evil. Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's not full evil.
It's half
It's
evil.
not evil.
Okay.
It's in the middle.
Yeah.
Medieval.
So was that the 1500s?
You completely derailed this whole fucking thing, and I don't even want to do it now.
Yes, do because I actually don't know where it came from or anything, which is why we're doing this.
Well, it came from the medieval times.
You're,
all right?
you're teaching me.
I'm tweaking you? What?
Teaching me.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm not tweaking you. So during bird hunts, because that was a thing to do back then, because they didn't have the internet like you like to bring up from time to time, hunters would hire beaters. So,
Like from Harry Potter?
Yes. They were playing Quidditch
Okay.
while hunting for birds.
Okay.
Who invited you?
Are they called the Stitch? No? Okay. I'll see myself out.
Please do. Anyways, they would hire these beaters to scare the game birds out of bushes with sticks.
Oh.
And basically, what they would do, they would circle the bush that these birds would be in, and they would literally hit the ground around the bush, beat around the bush, right? So they wouldn't actually hit the bush directly because that could potentially fuck up the bird, they're killing them anyways. They're on a bird hunt, but it could scare it. Well, it could scare it away. It could fly out, whatever, so on. So they also didn't hit the bush because a beehive could have been in there.
Oh, sure.
They didn't want to hit that, and bees everywhere.
I wonder how they learned that lesson.
I'm going to go with experience.
So they were kind of like bird dogs, but with sticks.
Yeah, but okay. and human. So,
with a bush. Okay.
Or lack thereof. But basically, it was the. All right. So obviously, it wasn't only just birds too, but they also they were hunting birds. It wasn't just beehives, is what I meant to say. They also, like, wild boars would hide in these bushes, and I mean, look at Robert Baratheon. He got fucked up.
Oh
Drank
my gosh,
too much
Robert.
Wine. Poor guy.
Poor guy.
Never had a chance.
I mean, he was probably like seeping wine,
mixed with blood. But yeah. Anyways, so like they didn't want to get involved with that either.
For sure.
Yeah. But over time, the phrase kind of basically it moved to approaching the subject, like get to the point.
Okay.
Which the point of that was to get the birds out.
Yeah.
So it's like stop beating around the bush and just hit the bush, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And so, but the first time it actually appeared was in a medieval poem in the 1400s, which again is medieval. For anyone who missed that delicious Kate nugget before. Oh my God. And so it's been around since the 1500s, basically, but it first appeared in a poem in the 1400s. But it basically means just shoot or get off the pot, just get to the point.
Yeah.
Stop beating around the bush.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And thanks for derailing the beginning of that.
It was epic.
It was epically stupid.
It was. That was pretty great.
Drink your beer.
It's really not great.
But it's bad.
I really want you to try it.
I really am not going to.
It's for science, Bradley.
No. Science. Trust the science.
I can't until you try it.
Well, we were told to.
I do have a Modelo waiting for me, so I think I am going to put this. It wasn't terrible. It's just definitely not something I would.
It's not your style.
Drinking. It's really not.
When you picked that one out and you told me about it, I'm like, yeah, I don't think you're going to enjoy that.
What made you say that? So it's a blonde ale?
Yeah, just the style alone. I mean, you're more of a lager forward person, which is like what a Modelo is, a Pilsner lager. An ale could be a little bit different. Like, you don't mind pale ales, but I think you also enjoy a little bit of the hop.
Yeah.
But not too much.
Yeah.
Blonde ale is, you said you like wheat beers. It's more towards the wheat beer side of things. I didn't think you were going to like it.
Yeah.
Just knowing you well enough and the style of beer you normally drink, I just didn't think it would be your thing.
Well, thanks for speaking up.
Well, that's why we try new things, though, right?
That's fair.
So, I mean...
This one was not for me, but...
No, and it could be for somebody, just not for Kate. Yeah. My bourbon old fashioned was not bad.
Awesome.
For what it is, I actually wouldn't mind trying it over ice.
Oh, okay.
I think that would be better.
Okay. Well, you got a 4-pack, so...
I did, yeah.
You can do that.
But no, it was good. I enjoyed it. Go Central Standard and in partnership with Lightning Cools, and yeah. Well...
I suppose.
Yep. All right, Buffoons, that's it for today's episode.
Buckle up because we've got another historical adventure waiting for you next time. Feeling hungry for more buffoonery? Or maybe you have a burning question or a wild historical theory for us to explore.
Hit us up on social media. We're History Buffoons Podcast on Reddit, X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also email us at historybuffoonspodcast@gmail.com.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts and turn those notifications on to stay in the loop.
Until next time, stay curious and don't forget to rate and review us.
Remember, the buffoonery never stops.